Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Cybersecurity Mentors podcast and our first video episode, which you will be able to find on YouTube. Hey, John, how you doing?
I'm great. Good to see you.
Likewise. Oh, and a big congratulations to our winner for a free 30-minute mentoring session, which you got a chance to talk to, John.
Yep, it was great. Had a really good conversation with Lucas out of Canada. He actually was in Florida at the time, but he's from Canada, or he lives in Canada at least. It was really good. It was awesome to talk to him and just to kind of hear his journey and what he's trying to do and how he's approaching getting into security. And he's got a really good solid foundation. I was impressed with just where he was from the IT side of things.
Yeah.
And I think I helped him. I think I gave him some advice on routes to go, kind of a roadmap, what to certifications to pursue, what not to pursue right now. It was really I really enjoyed it, and I know you really enjoy it when you get that chance too.
I do, yes. And so, guys, we've really enjoyed talking to you guys all through our Discord, but also just one on one. So, we wanted to announce that we want to continue to do this. We would love to meet everybody. So, in order for us to be able to do that, we want to invite you guys to go to our website at www.cyberprofessionalservices.com. Once you're there, you can go to the Contact Us page and shoot us over a message. Let us know you're interested to meet with us, and we can set up and coordinate and set up a quick 30-minute mentoring session free of charge where we can help you and just kind of hear where you're at and see how we can help. And potentially you can get off of that call with a roadmap that will help you reach your goals. So, please reach out to us. We're happy to help.
Yep, we want to meet everybody. We
We
might not
do.
be able to meet everybody, but we really do want to meet everybody, and that's the great part about being able to connect with you and find out where you are in your journey. So reach out to us.
Absolutely. So today we are going to talk about cybersecurity boot camps and are they worth it in 2024? So we are going to discuss what a boot camp is. What are some of the characteristics of the boot camps that you see nowadays? With some talking about some of their curriculum, talk about some of their extras that they have, job guarantees, um, coaching services, career coaching services, and all that. And then we want to talk about our experiences with them. Give you guys some advice, some other things to talk about, but we also want to bring in some alternatives. So if boot camps are not for you, there are some alternatives that you can do that will help you and that they will be successful. So, what is a boot camp? So, a cybersecurity boot camp, in short, is a short, intensive training program. Normally, they last around 3 up to 6 months, where they try to touch a lot of the fundamental items of beginner level of cybersecurity. Most of the ones that I've seen, do that by trying to teach you the concepts and the basics so that at the end of these boot camps, you can go and try and get your CompTIA Security Plus certification. Now, that is one of the best starter, basic, entry level certifications you can get. So I can see how they kind of try and tailor their boot camps to get you to be able to take and pass that exam. Your thoughts, John?
Yeah, and just let me back up a little bit. This might be a little bit of a controversial topic
Yes.
because people see boot camps, and we might not have the same opinion of boot camps that other people might, from promoting boot camps and going this route. And we're kind of we have some experience, and Steve has even more experience with this. So just so you know, this might be a little bit opposite of what you hear other people on social media and other places talk about boot camps as the a solid way to get into cybersecurity. So let me start with that.
Thanks, John. Thank you. I got ahead
Yeah,
of myself.
yeah, no, good. So you know what obviously boot camps, right? It's appealing as a I am told I have no experience. I have no IT. I have no security experience. Do I go get a degree? Do I go just do certifications? How do I get, this is the question, how do I get into cybersecurity? And boot camps looks like the key to unlock the door. Oh, they're going to give me all these things that are going to get me started as a launch pad to get into cybersecurity. And I'm sure that's what people see this as. It's like, okay, this is a lot cheaper, even though it's not cheap at all, a lot
Yes.
cheaper than a 4 year degree
Yeah.
to pursue, and it's faster, right?
Yes.
So we'll talk about that a bit more too. But I can just try to think through the eyes of a new person that's trying to get into cybersecurity, and they're Googling, they're on YouTube. What are boot camps? What are the boot camps? What are the cybersecurity boot camps that are out there? How much are they? Are they worth it? And then you find videos that are out there like, yeah, this is great. It's going to get you a job. And even their marketing material promises a lot of things that we don't believe they meet.
No, I completely agree. So let's dive in. So let's talk about probably one of the big things that attracts a lot of new people to cybersecurity, and it's the speed. Right? You go from zero to hero anywhere between 3 to 6 months. Right? So that as coming in, if you're new to cybersecurity and you're trying to change careers or turn a new leaf, whatever it may be, that's appealing. In 6 months I can go from zero to hero and I can get a job in cybersecurity and start making good money. I mean, that is very, very appealing.
Absolutely.
So that is one of the things. The others could be just kind of how they describe their program, their curriculum, right? They try to kind of give you the sense that you will learn all of the basics and fundamentals within 6 months. You will get hands-on experience doing labs or doing projects, whatever it may be, and that you will just gain that experience and the knowledge and the confidence to be able to step into a cybersecurity entry level role after 6 months and be successful. What are your thoughts with that, John? Like, how do you, what are your thoughts around that?
Yeah, I get that, and that's in their marketing material, is that you are going to get access to all of these different platforms. But what we have seen and you have seen is that a lot of this stuff is you can do it without without paying the money that they want you to pay. It's out there already. They're reusing material that is out there that you could, maybe there's a pay, you may need to pay for some of it, but a lot of it is free, and they repackage it and offer it back up to you in maybe a nice format of curriculum of like, okay, go do this and then go do this and go do this. But when you look at it and you're like, wait a minute, I could go take this same thing that I don't need to pay thousands of dollars for without them. And what else do they give me? That's the other thing. Okay, what else are you getting from this? And talk about that a little bit. Like, when you, first off, that's correct, right? Most of it looks like it's free material. Is that
Yes,
correct?
yeah, that is correct. So for the listeners here, so I have experience working with boot camps. I still do. There are certain boot camps that I still work with today, from a mentoring capacity, where I provide services to their students and mentor them along their journey, along their path. And I have worked with a number of them, and it surprised me how they package this. Just exactly what you just said, John. I've had the chance to go through a number of different curriculums, through different boot camps, and there's kind of a similar pattern. They're not trying to reinvent the wheel. They are basically going out and gathering what they believe are good videos, articles, books, um, any sort of resource that they believe is good enough to teach a certain topic and explain. They do add some labs, but I've seen labs where you have a virtual system and you have a video and you watch them both together. And the video is basically telling you what to click, what to type, step by step instructions with no explanation. So students may go into this thinking, oh, I am actually doing something. But just by following those videos without having somebody explain to you what you are doing, that does nothing for the student. That's not helping them. Um, but I've
Yeah.
also seen. Sorry, go ahead, John.
So I was going to say, yeah, I mean, they're not teaching you. They're not teachers, right? They're really not. I mean, for what I've heard you describe it, they are curating content that's mostly free that you walk through the scenarios, you walk through a lab. They're not they're not a, oh, go sign up for this course and I'm going to teach you this material and make sure that you understand it. It's really, hey, here's a material, here we give it to you, and you're self teaching. You're learning this yourself through the content.
Yeah, so there are multiple types of boot camps out there. So yeah, let's clarify that. Most of the boot camps that I've had experience with are the full online boot camps, meaning it's not instructor led. They're it's literally you are watching videos most of the time or reading articles, and you're basically teaching yourself. And there is a difference between that and the ones that are instructor led. Most of the time, with the ones that have an instructor, it's a certified individual that has experience, that has knowledge, and they are teaching you. So they are there to ask questions, to answer your questions. They are there to give you examples. Some of them may actually have real life cybersecurity experience that that they can utilize to then give you just help you along your journey in a more detailed way, because they actually have experience that they can go and pull from when they're answering your questions.
So I
So
would just say, if you are looking at boot camps, that is a key component to ask about.
yes.
Are they is there a teacher, is there an instructor that will be teaching this course or courses, or is it self-driven, self-led?
Yes. Now, some of the fully online courses do have additional resources. So they may have an advisor, a career coach, a mentor, right? Now, that can be helpful as well. But the main concern that I have is the price they are charging these individuals and what they're getting. Now, finding a mentor, I mean, this is what this podcast is all about. Finding a mentor is invaluable. It is, if you can find a good mentor, that alone will take you very, very, very far. So, my big concern is with what we were talking about earlier, where they are just repackaging free resources and content that is out there on the internet and putting a bow on it and selling it to you for 10, 12, 14, $16,000, and sprinkling in additional things like a mentor or a career coach, and trying to get away with, I mean, that's a crime. To me, that is a crime. That is just not worth it. And I've had situations where I've been able to speak to individuals before they take that next step, and it's overwhelming just how close. And they'll say, man, I appreciate it, like what you just told me answered so many questions, like you set me on the right path. I know exactly what to do now. I can't believe I was about to take this step that could potentially have been a mistake. So it's just that's why we're having this episode.
Yeah, and they don't know, and unfortunately, you may be too late until you figure this out. You may get past the time where you can actually get a refund, and now you're committed, and you're like, whoa, okay, well, I've spent this money, or I've got a loan for this money, and this is like a semester at least worth of money you're dropping, hoping that with a lot of these are guaranteeing in some fashion, although they've scaled this back a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
you will get a job in cybersecurity. What have you seen there?
Yeah, so it started with just a few that were giving you that job guarantee, and I did a little bit more research before we did the podcast just to make sure my information was correct. And there are more boot camps that are jumping on that bandwagon now. I only have experience with some on this, so I don't know how others or the majority of them are doing it. But the experience that I have, you have to read the fine print. Um, they're guaranteeing you a job or they will give you a full refund. Now, putting every personal thing aside, boot camps are a business. They are trying to make money. That is their number one goal. So, if there is a way that they can get out of giving you that job guarantee, they will. So, please, please, please read the fine print. If they are offering a job guarantee, trust me, there are things there that you have to keep an eye on, and there are things that you have to make sure that you continue to do to make sure that you have that job guarantee until the end of the program. Now, some of the things that I've seen are scoring a certain amount on your assignments or your mini projects, participating in a number of coaching sessions with a career coach or a mentor, or attending so many networking in events, right? Like you going out of your way to go to a B-sides conference or something, right? There are a number of things that you have to do within a time period to continue to have that active status of, hey, this person is continuing to have this job guarantee. Now, um, at the end of the boot camp, so what I've seen is at the end of these boot camps, they offer up to 6 months after you graduate, after you finish, or with the job guarantee, yeah, you'll be able to find a job within those 6 months, or we'll give you your money back. Now, what I also have seen is they don't say it has to be a cybersecurity job. They just say a job. I've
Mm-hmm.
seen where people go through the program and end up getting a job in the help desk, not doing cybersecurity, but just IT help desk. And then that is considered, hey, we did our part. You found a job after the 6 months. Now, some of you may say, well, that's good enough for me. But if I was going into all this trouble, if I was going through all of this hard work, a lot of money coming out of my pocket, and they are guaranteeing me a job, I want it to be a cybersecurity job, not
Right.
just a general IT job. No, I want a cybersecurity job. So those are the things that you need to ask and confirm, and just be aware and read that fine print.
Yeah, if I wanted just an IT job, maybe I sign up for an IT boot camp. I don't know if they're out there, but there might be.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
it's
yeah.
yeah.
So I know we obviously you can see where we stand on this, but some people do find jobs through this. Not saying
Yes.
and we don't have experience with everything. There might
Nope.
be some that are out there that are amazing. What are some pros for looking at pros and cons? What are some pros for going a boot camp route?
Yeah. So if you ask me, um, boot camps can help you get the fundamentals under your belt. They could, right? I think I being in cybersecurity for over a decade now. I went the 4-year degree route, right? But I will tell you that was worthless too. What actually helped me was meeting you're laughing, but it was meeting you, John, and you giving me the opportunity to be an intern with you. And I was able to do that for 2 summers. And that experience was what allowed me to be able to get a job out of college doing cybersecurity. Obviously, 4-year degree that helps with your resume and all that, but it was the experience that I gathered in that internship that actually helped me. So yeah, I'm not going to sit here and tell you, oh, go down the 4-year degree route, because depending on what 4-year degree that is, it's BS. It's worthless too.
Yeah, we
So
do work at a university. Just so you know,
we do work at a university full time, yes, but but
we
yeah,
love universities too. But I mean, I agree with you that you can't just go through a 4 year degree either and spend however much money that is and come out of it and just be expecting that offers are going to land on your doorstep if you haven't been able to weave in experience in some way. If you compare to some a student that comes out and they're graduating, compare and you haven't done anything to get an internship or hands-on experience compared to somebody that has, they are going to be gold seal, top of the stack resumes. You're going to
yes,
be in the mix with everybody else that's just done something, that's done curriculum, right?
yes,
So, yes, I think that's a good point to make, though, is that it's a lot of money to go the 4 year degree route too, and
yes,
think that you're going to come out of it with a
mhm,
job. You may not.
yeah.
It's a good point.
So going back to your question, I said, what are some of the pros to do going the boot camp route, right? Depending on the boot camp, you can find a good boot camp at a reasonable price that will allow you to get the fundamentals under your belt. So the basics, the cybersecurity basics, especially if you're somebody who has zero experience but has an interest and wants to build a career in cybersecurity, that will help. Now, if you are going to go the boot camp route, from my personal experience, and I want to hear your thoughts, John, you should put more of a focus on the end goal. At the end of this boot camp, what are they promising you, right? If they are just promising you that at the end of this boot camp, you will know the fundamentals and you will get a voucher to attempt to get your Security Plus certification from CompTIA, then work backwards. What I mean by that is if that is your goal, if your goal is to get the CompTIA Security Plus exam, then shift your focus to that because there are a lot of other resources out there, a lot of other trainings, and a lot of other things that are a fraction of the bootcamp price that will get you the same result, which is get your CompTIA Security Plus exam. But if you are going to go down the bootcamp route, if there are certain things lined, the stars are aligning, and you are saying, "Hey, this for whatever reason, this is my best bet," then I will ask you this: try and measure everything to the CompTIA Security Plus exam. Meaning, if you go through this boot camp, make sure that you are checking all those boxes to be able to successfully go and attempt to go after your Security Plus exam at least. The other thing is hands on experience. If it's really hard for somebody with zero experience that is just learning cybersecurity to get an internship in cybersecurity. It's tough. Also, depending on your situation, you may have a full time job, a family, and you may be wanting to get into cybersecurity, but you're doing this on the side, part time, on your free time. So it's hard to go and even try and get an internship. So the next best thing is hands on experience. So, in my opinion, look for a boot camp that has more hands-on labs than anything else. I've seen boot camps that have people write essays. Why in the world do you need to write an essay? You could completely change that to a PowerPoint presentation about the topic, which you will that's a skill that you will actually use in a full-time job anywhere. Definitely in security, definitely in IT. Writing essays makes no sense to me. John, what are your thoughts?
Okay, so quick story. Back in the day, right? A plus was the CompTIA certificate, the thing to get a job in IT. It was new on the block. It was the cool thing. It was a good stepping stone. If you got your A plus, you pretty much were good to get a job in a help desk, desktop support. So there was a school that had kind of a boot camp. Okay, there were two things. They had an A plus course. You go take the course. You at the end of they included a voucher to take your exam there, and I did that. Went took the course. Got through it. Really enjoyed it. I was already loved IT stuff. I wanted to do IT. I was on the path. Um, got that certificate and felt like, okay, yeah, I feel good enough here to to go get a job doing some basics. And I'll talk about the second part, but the A plus is kind of like the security plus. The security plus is the fundamentals, basics. You do not need to spend any money to get your security plus. You can do all that stuff self study, and then take the. You got to pay for the certificate to take the test. But I'm here to tell you, those most of all those tests you can self study for, especially security plus, because it's the fundamentals, it's the basics to get you going.
Hmm.
You do not need to spend thousands of dollars to have go through the labs that are going to get you ready to take the security plus test. I guarantee you, right? Now, from that, my kind of boot camp like experience was back then. Microsoft came out with a certification called MCSE, Microsoft Certified Systems Engineer. This was new hotness, and it had all the buzz. If you got this certificate, you were pretty much guaranteed a job. Okay, this was the thing that these training centers were offering,
Mm.
and it was 6 courses. You could kind of mix up the courses that you took, but you could do like exchange versus I don't know, some IIS or some other branch you could pick, but it's still you did take 6 courses and 6 tests. Okay, this is back in MC Microsoft NT40 days, so that tells you how old it is. But I talk to people and they're like, "Oh yeah, I got my MCSE, and now I'm making 75K or something." This was a long time ago. So I was like, "Whoa, okay, this is what I
Yeah.
want to do. This is what I should do." And this is before all these boot camps being online boot camps. But I bought into it. I was like, okay, here we go.
Yeah.
And now the difference is these were all instructor classes. Like I sat in a classroom and they gave me the books and we did hands-on things and they taught us things. And then after that I had to do more hands-on. And the way, at least the way I approached it, is I need to be able to actually do this work, and in a lab that they had provided for us, which was good. I could go in, stand up server things, mess with them, look at the book, and then took the tests, right?
Yeah.
So I didn't have it all the way complete by the time I got my first job, but I had a few tests under my belt that leading up to the MCSE. And then eventually, after I got my job, I finished it out. But those did help me, but they weren't like okay, you got this certificate, now you're in the door. It was to show us what you know how to do, and the confidence that I had from the repetition, from proving what I knew how to do. That's what got me the job, right? I could go in there
Yeah.
and say, no, look, I put the reps in. I know how to do this. I can prove
Yeah.
it to you. Stand up a system. Let's do it, right? And
Yes,
that's
sir.
the thing that with the boot camp, you probably are going to be missing, and you really can most likely build on your own and just put the work in. It's all about putting the work in. And
Yep.
maybe a boot camp could help you in the path, because if you're not sure, what do I do? There's so many options. I
Yeah.
get that, but there's also potential alternatives for that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's that repetition, that hands-on experience that just continues to prove that that's the way to go. That's the way to go. So just trying to wrap up your question before, and for our listeners too. So we were talking about um, labs, hands-on labs. Make sure that the boot camp you're going to go into has more hands-on labs than anything else, and and if you can, make sure that the hands-on labs are actually teaching you, and it's not just you following instructions on where to click, what to type, what to do, and make sure that they are actually teaching you. The other
Yeah,
thing, it's
let me add one
oh
more thing to that. And not
yeah,
only that are they teaching you, that you have somebody you can ask questions with, right? Because you will go through these labs, and if it's just kind of giving you the answers, say it is hands on, you might run into a scenario where you don't know what to do. You may have a roadblock.
yep,
Do you have somebody that you can ask, why do I do this? What is the reason behind this configuration, or
yep,
why is this the best way?
yep.
That's the thing that's probably most lacking.
Yeah, thank you, John. And that's where I was going next. As another thing for you to look at to make sure that this will be a good boot camp is that they have some sort of individual, expert, engineer, mentor, whoever it may be, advisor, somebody that you can, an actual person that has cybersecurity experience and knowledge that you can go to and ask those questions exactly like you just said, John. Absolutely. It could be a mentor, it could be an advisor, whatever it may be, but someone you can reach out to and someone that's going to be available to you. Um, and then also, just to wrap things up, um, career advice, because if you can find this as well, this is another plus. If you can find a boot camp that also gives you career advice on how to build your resume, how to add what you've spent so much time, money, and effort on into your resume, into a resume that you can then go out and apply to positions. Also, if they also do interview help, mock interviews, whatever it may be, just to help you get ready for these interviews where potentially, if you're new to cybersecurity, just new to IT in general, you have not been in an IT interview where they may be asking you more technical things, right? You may still get the ask of, hey, what are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? But this time they're going to ask you, oh, what's Linux? Well, what does this command in Linux do? What would you do in this situation? If you see an alert coming through Splunk, what query would you run, right? What does this result from a tenable Nessus vulnerability scan? What does this mean? Right. So you have to be able to have someone there that understands the program, the curriculum, the projects, the labs that you have just spent so much time and effort going through, that then they can help you translate that into a resume that helps to sell you to potential hires. That there so honestly, the job guarantee, if you could find the job guarantee, and like I was saying, that will guarantee you a cybersecurity job, not just any old IT job, but a cybersecurity job, that is another plus. So, and again, that's in the fine print. You have to be careful. You have identified that and clarified that before you go and take this big step. John, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, it's good. I think that's really insightful. Hopefully, people, and there are people that are out there saying about boot camps. Be careful about who you get advice from. Too. Not saying everybody is giving bad advice. They may be giving uninformed advice. And also, how long have they been in cybersecurity? A year?
Yes, sir.
Have they been in cybersecurity? How long? What are they, a CISO? Are they a deputy CISO? Right? Like, how long have they been in cybersecurity? Maybe they look cool and they have cool videos, right? But beware and vet where you get your advice from. Just another thing I'd say. If people are promoting boot camps, I would say, well, what is your experience with a boot camp? Have you been through a boot camp? Are you getting a kickback from that boot camp that you're promoting?
Yeah,
But yeah, yeah. Well, what about are we ready to talk about alternatives?
absolutely. Let's do it. Yeah. So before the podcast, John and I got together when we created a spreadsheet, which I'd be happy to share with y'all. Whoever would like to get it, please shoot us a message, and I can share it with you guys. And we can even go through it and talk about it in this free one-on-one mentoring session to kind of give you an idea of where we're coming from. Now, we're not sponsored by any boot camp. Okay. We're not sponsored by anybody. Any of the information that we're about to share, we're not sponsored by anyone. This is just us.
Yet they might
Yet,
want to, after
yet.
this they might be like, man, these guys are amazing.
That's
We won't
right.
take any boot camp money. I promise you that. But yeah,
That's right. Some of these alternatives, hey, hit us up. Hit us up. Anyway, but no, so yeah, so basically the spreadsheet lists out a couple of the big top boot camps, right? It lists out the price, whether they're online, in person, the length, the different learning material, the curriculum, what they're going after, whether or not they have labs, whether or not they include any sort of mentorship or career advice, whether or not they include the job guarantee, and what kind of certifications would you be able to go after you finish the boot camp, and or what certifications come with the boot camp, meaning whatever you pay at the initial start of the boot camp, then they will give you a voucher and then you can go and attempt to take these certifications. So, and again, it's just a few of the top ones that by doing a quick Google search, we were able to find. So it's not all of them. It's not extensive, but at the bottom, we listed what our alternatives would be. And we priced it all out. And it is a fraction of the price, right? So we went ahead and just did a basic, kind of just like a basic uh, entry level kind of starter roadmap, right? If you were someone that was trying to get into cybersecurity and you were trying to figure out a way to get started, what kind of training would you do? What kind of certifications would you go after? And we're just gonna go. We're just gonna go through it. We're just gonna go through it. So,
Yeah, and it's kind of a broad. You're new to cybersecurity. Maybe you're new to IT completely, but we think this is a good footprint resume builder to make you a generalist. It's not super specific, right? But that's okay,
yep,
and because all those sides of security come into play, and if I'm looking at you, right? So our perspective is that we hire people, right?
we
We
do.
we are literally hiring people,
Yep,
so we have a good perspective, in my opinion. Um, and so, what are we looking for? And we're trying to build you these foundations, these fundamentals as a solid person. What would we like to see?
that's right. Thanks, John. So let's start off with what I would use just for fundamentals um, that's out there that has some structure to it, meaning it's not just a bunch of free stuff everywhere where you're going to have to gather it yourself and go out. But, they've done a decent job of getting things kind of structured together to give you the fundamentals. And that would be the Google Cybersecurity Cert. Now, I've heard good and bad things. I've seen good and bad things out there by certain individuals, but what I'm saying is this is not a silver bullet. This doesn't cure everything. No, no, no. This is just one piece of the puzzle. Alone, the Google Cybersecurity Cert is not enough for someone to just go do that and then think they're ready to get into cybersecurity or get a job or any of that. It's not at all, but it's a good piece of the puzzle. And that is to help you get just the fundamentals, the basics, get you exposed to some Linux, some Python, just some vocabulary, some acronyms, just a general idea of what cybersecurity is. Now, it's also, in my opinion, pretty affordable. Um, I believe it's you get like a 7-day free trial, and then it's $49 a month. Um, and if you go up to 6 months, that rounds out to be around $294, right? But John, I think you were telling me earlier you believe
Yeah.
somebody could finish this in 1 month if they applied themselves.
Yeah, maybe 2 months, right? So the awesome thing, take the 7-day trial, check it out. It's
Yes,
free. You can just
yes.
go check it out and see what it's like. You can actually take the course and start it in 7 days, and then it's probable you could do it in a month if you really put your time in. If not, 2 months, $100. That's not bad.
And when you're comparing learning the fundamentals uh, from that to a boot camp, that could be anywhere between 10, 12, 14, $16,000. This is a no brainer. Now, there are a bunch of free resources out there that you could also use to learn the fundamentals. There are. It's just a time of going out, gathering things, and figuring out what's good and what's not. That takes time and effort, right? The only reason we're going with the Google Cert is because it's already established, it's already compact, it's got everything already together in a pretty user friendly format, and it's easy for somebody with zero experience to come in, sign up, and try it. Next, you want to talk about the next thing, John?
Yeah. So we talked about the Security Plus. Um, I think it is expounding on the Google stuff. It's going to overlap. with what Google's giving you. But it is good if we're looking at a resume and we say, okay, they've got the Google certificate, they've got Security Plus. That's building on that foundation of fundamentals of security. They should understand when I say SIM or SIEM, whatever you want to call it, what that is and why
Yes.
we use it and how we use it. They should understand when we talk about vulnerabilities, how you evaluate a vulnerability, why, what the CVE score is, right? You're building these terminology and vocabulary and
Yep.
understanding so that when we look at you and we evaluate where you are, and you might be surprised, like Steve said, what you may get asked in an interview to test your knowledge. I'm not going to take the fact that you got a certificate for, oh, they know, right?
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm going to be testing to find out. I'm going to know where you stand, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm going to really evaluate you. So this is just good. Hey, I've got both of these. I should be at this level of understanding for security.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, like John mentioned earlier in the podcast, there are a lot of free resources out there online, YouTube videos, websites. Professor Messer, shout out to you, sir, that have just a number of free things online that will help you prepare yourself for the Security Plus. Not to mention, there is a CompTIA Security Plus book that you could buy that goes through every single domain section to prepare you. And I believe it even comes with like some practice questions in the back to kind of get your mind right in terms of how they're going to ask these questions. Because also taking the test is another area for you to take a look at and consider, because it's not just going to be straightforward. They're not just going to ask you, what is tenable? What is it? No, they are going to make sure that you actually know and understand the material. So they're going to ask you questions in a unique sort of way to really, really figure out if you know your stuff or not. Um, the next one would be Network Plus, also from CompTIA. Uh, yeah, from CompTIA. Now,
Yeah.
um, there's some back and forth on this. John, I want to hear your thoughts too. I believe it's a good next cert. Some people may argue, well, I would do the Network Plus before I do the Security Plus. Hey, whatever floats your boat. I like the Security Plus first because, like John said, there's a lot of overlap with the Google search, so there's a lot of stuff that's going to be fresh in your mind already, and you touch on some networking stuff in the Security Plus. So that if you've had zero experience with networking and then you're coming into networking, I rather touch on it a little bit under both the Google certificate and Security Plus before I go fully focused on networking in the Network Plus. Now you may ask, well, why is Network Plus important? For me, what I have seen, and John, I want to hear your thoughts on this. A lot of the entry level positions that you are most likely going to get in cybersecurity revolve around security operation centers. And when you are there, some of the basic things that you are doing as a SOC analyst or security operation analyst is looking at network traffic, looking at what's going on in your network, what is weird, have there been alerts? I mean, are you running an investigation? Are you trying to figure out what this IP is, talking to this? Is it vulnerable? And just the fundamental network knowledge is going to come in handy tremendously. John.
Yeah. It's super important. And talking about college students and even our students, they don't really even get to networking, and it's still book curriculum mostly until junior year, maybe a little earlier. And then when they work with us, they're like, wow, I learned more about networking than I probably would ever have learned in class. And it is because we are doing it all the time. I mean, everything runs on the network, right? Everything hinges back to the network. So understanding how that is super important. And if we were interviewing you and we had a sense that you didn't understand how it works, then we might take a pause and like, okay, this is a thing we're going to have to teach them how this works. And we know that you can get there, but it's
Yeah,
so much better if you already have that solid understanding. You don't,
absolutely.
and I don't think we have this in here. And I've told this to other people because they've asked me, should I get the CCNA certification? And I'll say, no, you don't need to unless that's the route you want to go. If you want to go be a
True.
network security engineer and understand routing and switching, that's good. We need people like that, right?
Yep.
That is over and above understanding TCP/IP, network protocols, ports, services, things like that. That's above that. That's really more focused on the network side of the house. This is just building you up, and I think it's a good foundation before you think about maybe moving into a network specific type role.
Yep, absolutely. I agree. Now, again, just with the Security Plus, there's a lot of free resources out there that you can look into. YouTube channels, book. There's a book for this as well. Now, to go back a little bit, we talked about how much the Google cert would cost you. So, in order to take the test um, for the Security Plus, I looked online last night. So, if the numbers changed, please forgive me. It is $404 to get a voucher to take the exam. For the Network Plus, it's $369 to attempt the certification. Okay. Um, so so that right there would be basic. Those three certs. So you get your Google Cybersecurity cert, you get your Security Plus, and you get your Network Plus. That there, to me, John, I want to hear what you think, is a good fundamental entry level cybersecurity professional. Thoughts?
So I think so. And one thing I just thought about this that I might would recommend because of also how important it is, and we haven't this is on the fly looking at this. But the Linux Plus CompTIA Linux Plus 2 but because it's just for me
You're
it's just
right.
a great it's great to have that. Most people, they don't start out learning Linux. Even our students, they when they come and they work for us in the SOC, they may have never even touched Linux until they work with us, and we have them usually working in Linux when they're doing SOC work. So I just think it's a good fundamental skill. It sets you above other people, and it's probably, I haven't looked at the price, but it's probably not that expensive. I think it is a good thing because you may have a good understanding of Windows, but if you don't know how to operate and move around and install files, install things in Linux, um, then that's a thing that you're going to have to figure out more than likely in a security job. You know, not every security job, but to me, I would like to see it.
Yes, and I just looked up the price and I added it to our spreadsheet here. So the Linux Plus to again free resources out there online to study to prep for it. There's also a
Yep.
book, and I think the voucher, just one voucher to take the Linux Plus, is $369.
Okay.
Now, sorry, I got ahead of myself. Have these things out of order here, but before we can say, oh, this is a well-rounded beginner entry level fundamental, I forgot the most important thing, and I just mentioned it earlier: labs.
Mm,
And one of the things we actually just purchased for our team, for our group here where we work, is the Try Hack Me. It is it's out it is it's out there for all of y'all to check out, give a try. It's reasonably priced in my opinion.
yeah.
um I believe it's let me make sure. So if you were to get it for 6 months, but let me just do the quick math here. I believe it's like $10 a month.
Mm, yeah.
So for 6 months comes out to, well, a little bit more like $11 or so, but comes out to be around $65 for 6 months. So
Yeah.
you will have access to it for 6 months and pay $65. Um, and they have paths on there that you can take. And that'll lead into where we're going to go next in this conversation. But they have good labs for you to try. They're updating, they're creating new stuff all the time. And there are others. The reason why I had Try Hack Me on here, again, we're not sponsored by them. It's just something that we purchased ourselves at our university, and we had one of our analysts do some research comparing all of the other lab structures out there, and we like this one the best. So um that will kind of help you with the hands-on experience that we talked about, right? and um
Yeah,
and
like you're spinning up a VM alongside your your curriculum or your questions, and if you haven't, if never played with it before, you know, it is good because you are doing something hands on, and then you have to answer a question, right? So you have a literal VM that you stand up that's part of the course or path that you're taking that you get to do. It's just a virtual machine. It's just like, if you were standing up locally, but they have like the lab materials already pre-built. They've got the programs pre-built, right? And you can just walk through and try things to apply it as you then answer the question to move on to the next step. So just so you know how that
Yep,
works.
absolutely. And I just opened up their paths, and I did that because this is where we're going next. So they have a path already created, and when I say path, it's just a string of different labs and different coursework. Not really coursework, labs, different labs about different topics that will it kind of like already in a package. So, for example, they have an introduction to cybersecurity, which is one I would recommend. Then they go on to have junior pen tester, SOC level one, DevSecOps, red teaming, security engineering. They have complete beginner fundamentals. They have a CompTIA pen test plus, which is something else that we will talk about here in a sec. But there's different already pre-built paths for you for your learning that you can take advantage of, and it's lab hands-on experience. You're actually hands-on keyboard, tackling some of those challenges. Now, if you want to, again, so let me do some quick math, and I apologize for not being ready for this, but you do the Google Cybersecurity Cert for 6 months, which we said was $294. You do the Security Plus Cert, which we said the voucher was $404, and you could find free resources out there to study for this. Let's say you also do the Network Plus, and let's just throw in the Linux Plus in there too. And you get 6 months of Try Hack Me Labs at $65. That alone, my friend, is $1,501. You have basically, at the end of this, you're going to have potentially the Google Cert Plus Cert, or the Google Cybersecurity Cert, that's one. Security Plus Cert, that's two. Network Plus Cert, that's three. Linux Plus Cert, that's four. And you're going to have 4 certifications. Learn all of that knowledge and have hands-on experience working through some Try Hack Me labs. All of that for $1,501.
We
Compared,
we just saved you $10,000. You're welcome. At
compared,
least.
compared to the 10 to 11 to 12, 13, 14, 15, you name it, thousands of dollars that you will spend. Basically, for most of these, basically at the end, you get a voucher to take your Security Plus certification.
Mm.
I mean, if that right there doesn't show you, opens your eyes to just wow. Now,
Mm-hmm.
now, you may say, Steve, I appreciate it, but I will have a mentor, I will have a career coach, and I have a job guarantee. That to me is worth the 10 plus $1,000. Good luck to you, my friend. Now, right? There, if now that's just a general entry level basic cybersecurity professional. Now, if you wanted to add a little extra to maybe specialize or maybe start your focus going down a different path, we got some more things for you. Now, if you are interested in cloud, we here where we work, we are now venturing into the AWS world, right? So we have a AWS cloud engineer, AWS specifically, and there is AWS certifications and training out there. There's AWS training that you can do for free, and there is an AWS cloud practitioner certification that you can take. That alone is an additional $100. So if you do all of the basic stuff that we talked about for $1,500, and then you add in this AWS course, that now you can say, I have learned some of the basics for AWS cloud for an extra $100. So, and that's another certification that you can add to your resume. So that's $1,600 that you've spent, and you are not only a good, well-rounded, entry-level, basic, fundamental cybersecurity practitioner now, or a professional now, but you now have dabbled into the AWS cloud world. Now there are other Microsoft, Azure stuff as well. I just chose AWS just because we have experience with it. We're working with it, so that is why. But that's an additional thing. John, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, and like you said, there's Azure. I think one thing to think about, and I tell people this all the time, go look at jobs right now. If you have zero, you haven't started out, but you have an idea of maybe I want to go this path, go look at the jobs. Go look at what they're asking for. What are they looking for? Now, some of them may be ridiculous and they're not realistic. Like we want an entry level person that's got 5 years experience, right? But go look at some quote unquote entry level jobs and kind of get an idea. Maybe they want more cloud experience or more cloud experience and more cloud skill sets. So you might want to level up on that a little bit more. Maybe they want more networking in
Yeah,
the jobs that you're seeing. Okay, maybe I need to dive into that a little bit more. Maybe you need to be more vulnerability and make sure that you've got a little bit better understanding of vulnerability analysis and things like that. There are courses out there for that. I think Qualys has like a free course that you could go and say, yep, I took this course and I have a better understanding of how this works. So use that as a gauge too for what you are looking at out there, because that's what you're going to usually apply against. Here's my resume, here's where I am, and they're going to look at you and evaluate that job based on your skill set. So I think that's a
yeah,
good way. And cloud, it's definitely more people have that, more people are looking for that, but don't let that scare you too. It's still fundamentals when it comes to security. It's still fundamentals that come into play. You just have to apply it in those situations.
yeah, absolutely. Thank you, John. And just to back up a little bit, guys, after you've completed your Google cybersecurity cert, your Security Plus, and some of the Try Hack Me labs, depending on who you are, and please reach out to me. Let's talk. Let's have a conversation. I would be willing to say, you know what? I believe from a technical standpoint, you are at a beginner enough level where you could start applying for jobs. So let's shoot me your resume. Let's look through it. Let's work on it. I can help you on that side of the house. And then you can start applying to jobs while you continue to just level up by going after your Network Plus or your Linux Plus or AWS, or even if you go after other certifications, which we have here a couple others that I'll just go through quickly, which are the Blue Team Level 1 Junior Security Operation Certificate. You have, if you're more into pen testing, Red Team. You have the Practical Junior Penetration Tester cert. Even if you are more on the GRC side of the house, there's a couple GRC certificates here that you can go after as well. Now, we've given you a number of different things, and this is all in the spreadsheet. If you want it, hit us up. We will share it with you. And it just briefly lists some numbers. Um, if you are still interested, if you say, hey, you know what, I love this, but I still feel unsure. I wish I could have somebody that I can reach out to and talk to and even just maybe bounce ideas off, or have them spend a couple minutes with me to explain topics that I don't understand, or I don't know why this lab is not working for me, or I don't know why I'm having to do this in this lab. That's where we can come in and help you as well. So we mentioned earlier at the beginning, we wanted you guys to reach out to us, and we wanted to meet with you all for 30 minutes free mentoring session to just hear about you, hear your story, get to know you, get to know our listeners, and see how we can best help you. Just like that, we can provide mentoring service and a career advising service that will round you out to give you basically everything you are getting from a boot camp out there at a fraction of the price. Now, some of the boot camps that I have dealt with, do 30-minute sessions. Some do it weekly, some do it bi-weekly. Some mentors are just there kind of on demand, waiting for the student to have an issue to then reach out to them and answer a question. I have seen where you get to meet with somebody every single week for 30 minutes. That to me is the best. That is the best, because not only am I there every single week to answer your questions, but I'm an accountability partner. You're meeting with me next week, and we have already discussed, hey, this is where you are, and this is where we want you to get to for our next session. And that is me making sure that you are meeting your goal. If you say, hey, I want to get this done in 6 months. Hey, I really want to get this done in 4 months. Then I can sit with you, or we can sit with you, and we can have a discussion about, well, what is your plan? What's the roadmap? All right, well, these are the things I think will fit you, right? And then we can go after it. And we have a timeline and we have a roadmap that we want to meet. So that's pressure on you, pressure on me, but together we will get it done. John, what are your thoughts there?
Yeah, and you have said to me that when you've talked to people as part of the boot camp, that the mentoring is really the best thing you're getting out of it. It's still very expensive based on what you get, but coaching your mentees is like, look, take advantage of this. This is the best thing you're going to get. I mean, and I agree with you. Um, I sent something out this week, I believe, through the newsletter. Shout out to the newsletter if you're not signed up, check it out.
That's right.
About coaching and mentorship, and it was a great TED talk that I came across from a surgeon who was exploring coaching and thinking about coaching, and had hit a plateau in where he felt he was as a surgeon, and he thought about, well, coaching and football. This is a thing that's been around for a long time. Maybe I'll try it. And he brought in his former professor from school who watched him go in and do an operation. He didn't go into details, but did a procedure, and he thought he killed it. He's like, I killed this. This coach, he's not going to have anything to say about what happened. And all he paid him to come in and observe him in operation. And then he's like, yeah, I don't have but a few things. And he had like pages of notes. And he's like, he's like, you lifted your elbow at a certain point in the procedure, and surgeons should always, have their elbows close and be in control. Just little things that, even surgeons, even Michael Jordan had a coach, right?
Yeah, that's
So
right.
even we need coaches.
That's right.
So don't think, we definitely believe in it. Obviously, this is what the podcast is about. But we love helping people. We really do, and that's the best. One of the best things we get out of it is just seeing people go from zero to hero for real and get jobs in cybersecurity and go on and kill it. And we follow up with them, and we're like, wow,
Absolutely.
just super impressed and proud to be part of their journey. So, yeah, we know we can help you. We've done it. We know we have perspective on what hiring managers are looking for. We are in the industry. We've been in the industry for a very long time, and we love helping people. So,
We do.
yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And, just to round this up, this is something that obviously you can tell we are passionate about, right? For me, it's just, cybersecurity has done so much for me at a personal level, and I love it. I'm very thankful for where it has get me, and I see why people want to get into cybersecurity. I see it, and I want to do everything I can to help them, because I know once they get there, they're going to love it as much as I do. And it's going to do wonders for them and their family like it has done for me. So I want to share that. I want to give that back to the community. And it's the same for you, John, right? I
Yep.
mean, we've seen it. I mean, we currently do it during our day-to-day job, different kind of process. We have interns that come in, work with us. We're teaching them, helping them get leveled up, and then we're pushing them to graduate and leave and get these amazing jobs, amazing companies. But we're passionate about helping build the next generation of cybersecurity professionals. So just to kind of wrap this up, guys, I know we've kind of said a lot, but boot camps. I mean, just coming back to boot camps, I think depending on the boot camp, depending on the price and what you actually get out of it at the end of the day, they could be worth it. But there are alternatives.
Mm,
Now, some of the alternatives we talked to, you may think, well, I don't feel comfortable to tackle all that on my own. Like, I don't feel comfortable to just study for the Security Plus on my own. I don't feel comfortable going through the labs on my own, and I need help. And I feel like that's what I'm going to get with the boot camp. Don't forget about us. We're right here and we're offering to help you. So please take advantage of that. Now, um, well, just to wrap up, John, I mean, what are your closing thoughts here? Anything else you want to leave our listeners?
yeah, boot camps for the devil. No, we're not trying to say that exactly, but we are trying. We do see people almost getting taken advantage of. Right?
Yeah.
They don't
Yeah.
know any better. They don't. They're not informed, and they're getting sold something that it may not be true exactly. Right? The devil's in the details. So we're trying to inform you, trying to educate you. Be wary. Don't just take the easy route and trust these companies. They are a company. They are trying to make money, and they may not be completely honest with what they're presenting to you, right? So
Yeah.
be informed, know that there's alternatives for everything, and you can do a lot of you actually could do everything free. It takes a lot more work, but you could, yeah, absolutely do things free. It's just harder, right? But
It
with
is.
what we've mentioned, these alternatives, we think these are some solid ones, and things are going to shift. There's going to be new
Yeah.
programs, new certificates, but these are solid ones that we would look at and evaluate you and say, okay, this person, this is where they are. We would be comfortable hiring you in an entry level position based off of this. So
Yeah.
take a look at that. And like we said at the beginning, we want to meet you. We even if
Yes.
you don't want to do a paid for thing, that's okay,
Nope.
because we really enjoy helping you on your journey, and we want to connect with it. I'd like to meet everybody, right? I know we can't, but I really would like to
Yeah.
meet everybody, just hear where they are in their journey, how they heard about us, how they found out about us. Like when I talked to Lucas, I was like, hey man, how did you hear about this podcast from
I know.
Canada?
Yeah.
Right. And it was awesome. He was just said, I just was interested in cybersecurity and went and started searching and found this podcast. I was like, oh, that's awesome. So
That's amazing.
we want to hear your story too.
Yeah,
So again,
absolutely.
Steve, where do they go to sign up?
Yeah, yeah. So you can go to our website. So it's www.cyberprofessionalservices.com. You can go to the contact us page and shoot us a message. Just tell us your name, your email, and that you would like to meet. Or if there's a specific topic you want to talk about, please list that on there. And then we'll reach back out to you, coordinate on the right day and time. And then, yeah, we'll love to talk to you and help you any way we can. Also, if you do want this Excel sheet, again, it's a rough draft. Reach out to us on our Discord or reach out to us through our website. Be happy to give it to you, send it to you, or be happy to sit down and talk to you about it in more detail. Um, but yeah, just hit us up. We're
Yeah, and
happy to help.
we'll link to all these things too in the notes. So feel free to connect through that too. So yeah,
Yeah,
awesome,
yeah,
awesome episode. Thanks, Steve.
yeah. Thank you, John. Thanks everyone for listening.
Yep. See ya.
See ya.